Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and you're faced with a choice. Do you have coffee or tea? This might seem like a simple decision, but it illustrates a fundamental aspect of being human, the ability to choose. Every day we make countless choices, big and small. From what to eat for breakfast to what career to pursue, these decisions shape our lives. But where do these choices come from? Are they truly ours, or are they predetermined by factors outside our control? This is the heart of the debate on free will. It's a question that has puzzled philosophers for centuries, and it's one that continues to have profound implications for how we understand ourselves and our place in the world. In the simplest terms, free will is the ability to make choices freely, without being forced or predetermined. It means that we have control over our decisions and actions, and that we are responsible for the consequences of those choices. Think about it this way. If you choose to have coffee instead of tea, it's because you wanted coffee. You weren't forced to choose coffee, and your decision wasn't predetermined. You had the freedom to choose, and you exercised that freedom by choosing coffee. This might seem obvious, but the idea of free will has been challenged by some who believe that our choices are actually determined by factors outside our conscious control, such as our genes, our upbringing, or even random events in the universe. One of the strongest arguments for free will comes from our own personal experience. When we look inward, we have a sense that we are the authors of our thoughts and actions. This process of looking inward is called introspection. Introspection allows us to examine our own mental and emotional processes. It gives us the feeling that we are in control, that we are the ones making decisions. For instance, when you decided to have coffee instead of tea, you probably didn't consciously think through all the factors that might have influenced your decision. You didn't analyze your genes, your upbringing, or the position of the planets. You simply chose what you wanted in that moment. This immediate, intuitive sense of choice is a powerful indicator of free will. However, the question remains, are we truly free in our choices, or are they determined by factors beyond our control? While we may not always be aware of all the factors influencing our decisions, we experience ourselves as making choices freely, based on our own desires and intentions. This sense of autonomy is crucial to our understanding of free will. It is what makes us feel responsible for our actions and accountable for our decisions. Even if external factors play a role, the feeling of making a choice is undeniably real to us. The debate between free will and determinism is ongoing, but introspection provides a compelling argument for the existence of free will. It allows us to feel that we are in control of our lives, making decisions based on our own preferences and beliefs. This immediate, intuitive sense of choice is a powerful indicator of free will. While we may not always be aware of all the factors influencing our decisions, we experience ourselves as making choices freely, based on our own desires and intentions. In the end, whether our choices are truly free or not, the experience of making them is a fundamental part of what it means to be human. It shapes our identity, our sense of self, and our understanding of the world around us. The concept of free will is closely tied to the idea of moral responsibility. If we truly have free will, then we are responsible for our actions. We can be praised for our good deeds and held accountable for our wrongdoings. Imagine someone steals your wallet. Would you say they are responsible for their actions? Most people would say yes, but if our choices are not truly our own, if they are predetermined by factors outside our control, then how can we hold anyone responsible for their actions? The belief in free will allows us to build a just and moral society, one where individuals are held accountable for their choices, and where we can strive to make better choices in the future. Section 5. Thinking it through. Rationality and free will. Another argument for free will stems from our ability to think rationally and make deliberate choices. Unlike animals, which are largely driven by instinct, humans have the capacity to reason, weigh options, and make choices based on logic and understanding. For example, if you're trying to decide between two job offers, you might create a list of pros and cons for each option. You might consider factors like salary, benefits, location, and company culture. This process of rational deliberation is a hallmark of free will. While our emotions and past experiences undoubtedly influence our choices, we are not slaves to them. We can step back, analyze our options, and make choices that align with our goals and values. Section 6. What if we don't have free will? Some people argue that free will is an illusion. They suggest that what we perceive as free choices are actually the result of complex interactions between our biology, environment, and past experiences. They believe that our choices are actually determined by factors outside our conscious control, such as our genes, our upbringing, or even random events in the universe. For instance, a scientist might point to the way our DNA influences our behavior, while a sociologist might highlight the impact of our cultural background. They argue that if we could rewind time to the moment you chose coffee over tea and replay that moment with all the exact same conditions, you would make the exact same choice every time. This is because every decision is a product of the specific circumstances leading up to it. This is because your choice wasn't truly free. It was predetermined by your past experiences and your brain chemistry. Neuroscientists have even found that brain activity can predict a decision before a person becomes consciously aware of it. This deterministic view of the world can be unsettling. It challenges our sense of autonomy and responsibility. If our actions are preordained, what does that mean for our moral and legal systems that are based on the notion of free will? It suggests that we are not in control of our own lives and that our choices are simply the inevitable outcome of a chain of events that began long before we were born. This perspective can make us feel like mere spectators in our own lives, watching events unfold without any real influence. However, some argue that understanding the factors that influence our decisions can empower us to make better choices. By recognizing the limitations of our free will, we might strive to create environments that promote positive outcomes and personal growth. Ultimately, the debate about free will versus determinism is far from settled. It invites us to reflect deeply on what it means to be human and how we navigate the complex web of influences that shape our lives. Section 7. The illusion of choice. One of the most compelling arguments against free will is the idea that our feeling of choice is simply an illusion. We may feel like we are making free choices, but in reality, our brains have already made the decision before we are even aware of it. Studies have shown that brain activity associated with a decision can be detected moments before a person is consciously aware of making that decision. This suggests that our conscious experience of making a choice may simply be our brain's way of interpreting a decision that has already been made at a subconscious level. Section 8. Beyond the illusion. However, even if our choices are influenced by factors outside our conscious control, this doesn't necessarily mean that free will is an illusion. We can still conceive of free will as the capacity to act in accordance with our desires and intentions, even if those desires and intentions are themselves shaped by our genes, our upbringing, and our experiences. Furthermore, the fact that we can question the existence of free will, that we can engage in this debate and consider different perspectives, suggests that we are more than just biological machines. Our ability to reflect on ourselves and our place in the world is a testament to our unique capacity for self-awareness and free thought. Section 9. The significance of free will. The debate about free will is more than just a philosophical exercise. It touches on the very essence of what it means to be human. Are we the authors of our own lives, or are we merely players in a predetermined script? This question has intrigued thinkers for centuries and continues to be a topic of intense discussion today. It has profound implications for how we live our lives, interact with others, and structure our society. The belief in free will influences our legal systems, our educational approaches, and even our personal relationships. It shapes our understanding of morality and justice, and it affects how we perceive success and failure. If we believe in free will, we are more likely to take responsibility for our actions, strive to make better choices, and hold others accountable for their behavior. This belief encourages personal growth and self-improvement as it fosters a mindset that we have the power to change our circumstances through our decisions and efforts. We are also more likely to feel a sense of agency and purpose in our lives. The belief that we can shape our destiny gives us motivation and drive, helping us to set and achieve goals. It instills a sense of empowerment and confidence, which can lead to greater satisfaction and fulfillment. On the other hand, if we believe that free will is an illusion, we may be more likely to feel powerless and apathetic. This perspective can lead to a sense of fatalism, where we see ourselves as victims of circumstance rather than active participants in our own lives. It can diminish our motivation to strive for improvement or to challenge injustices. We may be less likely to hold ourselves and others accountable for our actions, and we may be more likely to accept injustice and inequality. This belief can erode the foundations of moral responsibility and social cohesion, leading to a more fragmented and less compassionate society. Ultimately, whether or not we believe in free will is a personal decision. It is a choice that reflects our worldview and our understanding of human nature. This decision can have far-reaching consequences for how we live our lives and how we relate to others. However, by understanding the arguments for and against free will, we can engage in a more informed and nuanced conversation about this complex and important issue. This understanding allows us to appreciate the depth and richness of the debate and to consider the implications of our beliefs for ourselves and for society as a whole.